I am a ginseng spirit who has cultivated for 1,000 years. With great difficulty, I had just broken through the soil when a snowy figure suddenly crashed down right in front of me. Before I could even see what it was, my entire ginseng body was grabbed by a warm, large hand. Immediately after, a piercing pain came from my roots. "Stop! What do you think you're doing?" I screamed in pain, and even my spiritual energy trembled wildly. The person holding me paused and looked down at me. He was truly handsome. His jade-white face was stained with snow and dirt, and 2 strands of black hair hung by his cheeks. His features were so elegant, he looked like he had walked out of a painting. But a large gash on his chest was dripping blood onto the snow, and his lips were as pale as paper. He looked like he was about to kick the bucket. Hearing my voice, he was taken aback for a moment.
My apologies. I am Xianxia, the god of war of the heavenly realm. During a great battle with the demon clan, I was ambushed by someone and fell into the mortal realm with severe injuries. If you are willing to help heal my wounds, once I return to the heavens, I will surely repay this great favor.
LMAO, the god of war of the heavenly realm. He just says whatever, doesn't he? I sized him up from head to toe, my face full of disdain. God of war, don't make me laugh. The god of war is an invincible figure. How do you have the nerve to pose as him when you're this weak? You're probably just some wild immortal who ran out from some remote corner of the mountains. Besides, if the god of war could be ambushed, he must be all brawn and no brains. Perhaps because my words were too harsh, Xianxia's face darkened. He raised his hand and cast a silencing spell on me. Instantly, I couldn't make a sound. I could only glare at him, watching a hint of hesitation flash in his eyes. That look was clearly calculating where to bite me to make me taste better. I cried out of sheer anger, screaming furiously in my mind. I am a 1,000-year-old ginseng spirit. Even if I haven't taken human form, I still have consciousness. It is bad enough that you're eating me, but could you at least dip me in some soy sauce? My resistance seemed to have some effect. Xianxia ultimately felt too embarrassed to eat the whole ginseng.
Pardon me.
Then he reached out and ruthlessly plucked one of my rootlets. The pain made my very soul shudder. That rootlet was filled with the spiritual energy I had cultivated. He put the rootlet into his mouth. Instantly, a warm current spread from his mouth throughout his entire body. His originally pale face visibly eased by a great deal. Then came the second, and the third, until the 13th rootlet was plucked by him. I almost fainted from the pain. 200 years of my 1,000-year cultivation were forcefully stripped away by him. Only 800 years were left. A night passed. Xianxia's complexion had mostly recovered. He sat cross-legged, meditating to regulate his breathing. Meanwhile, I lay limply on the ground, both hurting and furious, my tears falling patter, patter. He finally lifted my silence curse. The moment I could speak, I vented all the anger I had bottled up all night. I only thought there were bad people outside the mountains, but I didn't expect you immortals to be even worse. I buried myself in the dirt for 1,000 years, and I was just about to take human form. But look at you. Plucking one rootlet took away over a decade of my cultivation. 13 rootlets, 200 years, all gone. You're all better now. But do you know how much damage this did to my young mind? And you claim to be a good person.
My apologies.
If apologies worked, why would we need laws? You talked about repaying my kindness, so do it right now if you have the ability. Repay me.
I cannot repay you right now.
You're just lying to me. Just because you see I'm a ginseng, you don't treat me like a person. He finally couldn't sit still anymore. Holding his forehead, he made a promise to me.
Once my injuries improve, I will take you back to the heavenly palace. The soil in the back garden of the Lord's estate is rich in spiritual energy. Your cultivation and injuries can be healed in an instant.
This bit of cultivation. If you look down on my low cultivation, then don't nibble on me. And why should I go with you? Who knows? If you want to take me back to the heavenly palace to nibble on me slowly, you'll get more than you bargained for. Xianxia was left with no reply by my questions. To prove he had no ill intentions, he raised his hand and swore to the heavens.
I, Xianxia, speak absolutely no lies. If I deceive this ginseng spirit, may I be struck by 5 bolts of heavenly lightning and never be reincarnated for eternity.
Fine then. If you promise never to taste me again, I'll go with you. Seeing him make such a harsh oath, most of the anger in my heart dissipated, and considering that the spiritual soil of the heavenly palace was indeed alluring, I relented. Xianxia nodded solemnly and handed over a cool, gentle jade pendant.
I promise. This shall be our token.
In the days that followed, Xianxia meditated to heal his wounds, while I buried myself in the dirt to sleep, perhaps benefiting from his luck as the god of war. By his side, my speed of absorbing spiritual energy was more than 10 times faster than before. But don't think I forgave him just like that. The grudge of plucking my rootlets I will remember for a lifetime. I don't know how much time passed. I was sleeping and drooling when I was suddenly pulled out of the dirt. My injuries have healed. I shall take you to the heavenly palace now. Before I could react, he stuffed me into his collar, soared on a cloud, and shot up into the sky with a whoosh. I poked my head out of his collar and looked down. The sea of clouds surged, and beneath us was a bottomless abyss. My legs instantly went weak. Little old Ginseng me is terrified of heights. The next second, I fainted right against his chest. A day in heaven is a year in the mortal realm. Xianxia spent several years healing in the mortal realm, but to the heavenly palace, he had only been missing for a few days. As soon as he landed with me, a large crowd of heavenly soldiers and fairy maids knelt to welcome him. Right after, a lovely figure broke through the crowd and rushed straight into Xuanyi's arms.
Brother Xuanyi, it is so wonderful that you are all right. Ning Shuang thought she would never see you again in this lifetime. As for the villain who backstabbed you last time, this princess has already ordered his immortal status stripped and had him cast down from the immortal slaying platform.
This girl was Princess Ning Shuang, the legitimate daughter of the heavenly emperor and empress. She was delicate and beautiful, just a little on the plump side. When she threw herself at him like that, she squished me against Xuanyi's chest, nearly flattening me to death. Let go quickly, I'm being squished flat. Xuanyi instantly pushed Princess Ning Shuang away.
Your Highness, this lord is unharmed. There is no need to worry.
Princess Ning Shuang was bewildered. She pointed at his chest, her face filled with fear.
Brother Xuanyi, what was that speaking just now?
Xuanyi reached into his robe, pulled me out, and presented me to everyone.
This lord was gravely injured and stranded in the mortal realm. Fortunately, I was saved by this ginseng spirit. She sacrificed 200 years of her cultivation to help heal my wounds, allowing this lord to fully recover.
He is lying. I didn't do it willingly. He plucked my ginseng rootlets himself. He plucked 13 of them. Xuanyi looked a bit embarrassed by my words. He put his fist to his lips, cleared his throat, and laughed it off.
This little ginseng spirit is quite humorous. This lord is grateful for her life, saving grace, and has brought her back to the heavenly palace. I will use the spiritual soil of the Lord's manor to aid her cultivation and restore her power. Seeing how greatly depleted her cultivation is, she looks like she is about to faint. I will take her back now to put her in the dirt.
With that, he grabbed me by the scruff of my neck and turned to leave. I struggled and said, "Hey, who are you putting in the dirt?" Before I could finish, he covered my mouth again. I glared at him, thinking to myself, playing dirty, are we? As I turned my head, I caught a glimpse of Princess Ning Shuang's longing and deeply aggrieved expression. Suddenly, it clicked. Oh, so this god of war has some romantic entanglements. The next second, Xuanyi placed a silencing spell directly on me. Damn it, silencing me just because you can't win an argument. Unbelievable. Xuanyi did keep his word though. He said he would plant me in the dirt. And he really did plant me in the spiritual soil of the god's mansion's backyard. The spiritual energy here was incredibly abundant. Staying here for one day was equivalent to a year in the mortal realm. Within a few days, I had fully recovered my strength. He sent a young fairy to take care of me. The girl had a round face and 2 sweet dimples when she smiled. Her name was Hongguo, a fairy cultivated from a crabapple tree. Hongguo was extremely hardworking. Every day before dawn, she would gather the morning dew to feed me. You are so kind. You're my favorite person in the heavenly palace. So gentle and attentive.
These were all ordered by Lord Xuanyi. I am merely following his instructions. You are the Lord's benefactor, which makes you my benefactor as well.
What kind of spirit did you cultivate from? You seem to be just an ordinary maid in the heavenly palace. Among the 6 realms of existence, mountain spirits and demons ranked at the very bottom. Even if they managed to cultivate into immortals, most of them ended up as the lowest ranking servants. Hongguo was one of them.
I cultivated from a crabapple tree. The Lord prefers peace and quiet. Because of my gentle nature and quiet demeanor, I was assigned here. Only after arriving did I realize that the Lord is indeed a man of very few words. When he speaks to me, he practically squeezes out 1 word at a time.
I couldn't agree more. I nodded my head vigorously. Exactly. He speaks way too little. Hey, do you think he might have a stutter? Hongguo's eyes lit up. She made eye contact with me, and we burst into laughter together. But as we were laughing, Hongguo suddenly stopped laughing. Her face turned deathly pale. Puzzled, I gave her a nudge. Laugh. Why did you stop laughing? The moment the words left my mouth, a bone-chilling, ominous aura came from behind me. I turned my head stiffly, only to see Xuanyi standing there. His incomparably handsome face was covered in a layer of frost, and his eyes were cold enough to freeze someone to death. I was so scared that my tongue got tied. Ah, you. Oh dear, you really are a stutterer. The moment I finished speaking, a blast of sword energy flew past with a whoosh, directly slicing off the palace lantern above my head. It scared this ginseng to death. I instantly burst out of the soil and retreated repeatedly. Xianxia, I am your great benefactor. You can't return good with evil. Xianxia reached out and grabbed my leaves, lifting me up like he was pulling up a radish.
Judging by this commotion, you seem much better.
That scared me to death. I thought he found me too talkative and wanted to pluck me and throw me out of the heavenly palace. Since his attitude had softened, if I kept holding a grudge, it would make me look petty, whether I'm doing well or not. How could you not know? 200 years. A whole 200 years of cultivation. How could you be so cruel? If you really want to help me recover faster, then get me some spiritual liquid, elixir pills, or rare treasures of nature, making me eat dirt every day. It is a wonder I can get any better.
The spiritual soil is rich in spiritual energy, which is suitable for your current cultivation.
I don't care. You're just not being sincere. Help! Someone is bullying a ginseng. Is this how the grand god of war repays his savior? Xianxia got a headache from my shouting. He quickly nodded.
All right, stop shouting.
Okay, to what? I was just throwing a tantrum. But he actually agreed. I saw him carry me into his bedchamber, and then he took out a sparkling flower pot and placed it in front of me.
This pot is made from 100,000-year-old divine crystal, combined with the 10,000-year-old spiritual soil of the Lord's estate. It will make your cultivation progress by leaps and bounds.
Leaps and bounds means 1 day is worth 1,000 days. Rounding it up, 1 year is worth 3 years. That is only slightly better. I am a 1,000-year-old ginseng, so I definitely know how to do math. Xianxia looked at me with eyes full of surprise.
How do you even know about this?
Hey, you immortals are really rude. Burying me whenever you want, and digging me up whenever you want. What do you take me for? Xianxia looked down at me and answered seriously.
Ginseng.
So to him, I don't even have any ginseng rights, do I? I have to admit, Xianxia's divine crystal flower pot is indeed very useful. Triple cultivation speed is not just an empty boast. Staying inside it, I only felt spiritual energy continuously pouring into my body. I narrowed my eyes in comfort. Why am I feeling so dizzy? Xianxia, why are there 2 of you?
Little ginseng, are you all right? Wake up.
I looked at him, only feeling my eyelids too heavy to lift. Finally, I squeezed out a sentence. Xianxia, you sneaky bastard. This little ginseng is suffering from nutritional overload. The fertilizer is too strong. I slept so deeply that I lost track of time.
Sensen, you're finally awake. Lord God, come quickly and look.
Guo, what are you so excited about? I know I'm lovable. But you don't have to be like this.
Sensen, you've been asleep for a whole year.
A year. 1 day, in heaven, is a year, in the mortal realm. So if I slept for a year in the heavenly palace, isn't that equivalent to spending 1,000 years in the mortal realm? Plus, with the triple cultivation speed of the mystic crystal flower pot, then this nap of mine directly gained me 3,000 years of cultivation. I was instantly dumbfounded. Grabbing Hongguo's hand, I said, Guo, pinch me. Am I dreaming? I just took a nap. And now I'm a great demon with 4,000 years of cultivation. Hongguo nodded with a smile.
Yes, indeed. Sensen, your whole body is glowing.
As we were speaking, a figure walked over quickly.
Little ginseng spirit, are you all right?
Do you really want me, your grandma, to have something happen to me? Just as I was about to jump up and kick his shins, he grabbed me in his hand.
Let's go. There is no time to explain.
I was dragged outside by Xianxia. What is going on? Why are you grabbing me?
Due to this Lord's negligence, your cultivation grew too quickly. Now your heavenly tribulation is imminent, but your foundation is unstable. I'm afraid you won't survive it.
I swallowed hard, my heart panicking. My cultivation speed was doubled. So the heavenly tribulation.
The power of the heavenly tribulation is also doubled.
Xianxia's words hit me like a bolt from the blue.
Xianxia, you absolute troll. No sooner had I spoken, suddenly dark clouds gathered overhead, turning the sky pitch black. A thick bolt of heavenly lightning struck straight down at me, aiming right for the crown of my head. I was scared out of my wits. This little ginseng is going numb. Xianxia, save me. The moment I turned my head, I saw Xianxia raise his hand, his entire body glowing with golden divine power, as he conjured a thick shield over me. The heavenly lightning struck the shield, making a deafening roar. This guy actually steps up when it matters.
Focus. There are still 9 more bolts of lightning.
Only then did I realize the reason I hadn't been struck was because Xianxia was holding me in his hand, using his own body to block most of the lightning's power for me. Thank you. I admit I was a bit too loud with him just now. Xianxia smiled at me.
You are my savior, little ginseng. Not to mention your tribulation is related to me. Even if it weren't, I would never leave you to fend for yourself.
Each of the 9 bolts of lightning was more violent than the last. Through it all, Xianxia held up the shield, taking all the damage for me. Blood gradually seeped from the corner of his mouth, but the grip in his palm never loosened. Finally, the heavenly lightning dispersed, and the sunlight shone down once more. Not only was I not struck to death, but I also used the power of the tribulation to ascend and become an immortal. I had finally become a ginseng immortal. I stretched my body. My original ginseng roots transformed into slender limbs, and the leaves on my head turned into jet black long hair. My fair, translucent skin glowed with a faint spiritual aura, and Xianxia, who had been holding my waist, was still holding my waist. Xianxia and I locked eyes, and the air instantly went still. For a second, the next second, Xuanyi's face turned bright red at a speed visible to the naked eye, turning red all the way from his cheeks to his ears. He looked at me, opening his mouth slightly, but couldn't utter a single word for the longest time. I waved my hand in front of his eyes. What are you looking at? Only then did he snap back to reality. He pressed his fist to his lips and coughed heavily. He quickly took off his white cloak and wrapped it around me completely. His voice was actually trembling.
Be careful not to catch a cold, Lady Sensen.
He called me lady. I looked down and instantly blushed. I had just taken human form and was completely unclothed. I quickly wrapped the cloak tightly around myself. Oh, thank you, old six. Oh no, thank you, Lord Xianxia. Xianxia was so embarrassed, he didn't even know where to look.
You are welcome, lady. Let us head back first.
Right. Let's go back first. Otherwise Guoguo will worry.
Lady Sensen, you aren't wearing shoes.
I stopped in my tracks and looked down at my feet. Stepping on the stone path did indeed hurt a little. He quickly walked over to me, squatted down, and turned his back to me.
Let me carry you.
Hearing this, my cheeks suddenly burned, and my heart beat a little faster. Could blushing be contagious? Otherwise, why is it that seeing Xuanyi's blushing face made me feel so self-conscious too? Thank you. Being carried was definitely better than walking myself. Leaning against Xuanyi's back, my heart instantly felt at ease. I breathed in the faint, crisp scent on him, all the way back to the Lord's estate. Outside the gates of the estate, Hongguo was pacing around with an anxious look on her face. Seeing Xuanyi return carrying a girl on his back, she was stunned and failed to recognize me for a long time. I jumped down from Xuanyi's back. Guoguo, it is me. I'm Xianxia. I've taken human form. Hongguo grabbed me, looking me up and down, then leaned in to sniff my scent.
Xianxia, it really is you. How did you turn into a young girl? There was such a huge commotion just now. I thought something terrible had happened.
Yeah, I thought I was going to turn into roasted ginseng. Fortunately, Lord Xianxia shielded me. Guoguo, do you have any spare clothes? I just took human form, and I don't have any other clothes to change into.
Come with me.
She took me back to her quarters and found a set of green dress and skirt for me to put on. Hongguo looked at me, her eyes full of admiration.
Xianxia, these clothes really suit you. You look more beautiful than the loveliest fairies in heaven.
I stared at myself in the mirror, but frowned instead. I reached out and squeezed my chest, then squeezed my hips. Why did my body turn out like this? Hongguo's face instantly turned bright red. She grabbed my hands to stop me from squeezing randomly.
Oh, Xianxia. This is...
She stammered for a long time without making any sense.
I can't explain it clearly either. Go ask the Lord. He knows everything.
Then I'll go ask him. Lifting my skirt, I ran like the wind to Xuanyi. Xuanyi was standing in the courtyard. When he saw me, his eyes momentarily lost focus, and a faint smile appeared on his lips.
Lady Shen.
In an instant, I grabbed his hand and pressed it against my chest, looking utterly confused. Why is it that after taking human form, I suddenly gained so much weight? Look at this place. It wasn't there before. The previously calm and composed Xuanyi instantly froze, the expression on his face stiffening. It was as if he had been struck by heavenly lightning. He stood rooted to the spot, unable to utter a single word for a long time. His eyes stared blankly at my chest, and he even stopped breathing. What is wrong? Is it too big? I raised my hand again and touched his chest, becoming even more puzzled. How strange. Why don't you have them? Xuanyi parted his lips, about to speak, when a sharp female voice suddenly came from behind us.
What are you doing?
I turned around to look. Princess Ningxuang was standing not far away, her face pale with anger, her eyes wide and round, glaring at us with a face full of rage. I looked at her chest. then looked back at mine, suddenly realizing that mine was larger than hers. Sensing my gaze, Xuanyi instantly withdrew his hand, regaining his cold, aloof, and self-controlled demeanor. He cleared his throat lightly.
Ahem, Princess Ning Shuang.
Princess Ning Shuang walked quickly over to us, glaring at me with fury, then looked at Xuanyi, demanding answers.
Xuanyi, who is this woman? Why are you with her? Doing such indecent things with her?
Seemingly afraid that Princess Ning Shuang would hurt me, Xuanyi instinctively pulled me behind him and explained.
This is the little ginseng spirit who saved my life. Today she survived her tribulation and ascended, taking human form and joining the ranks of the immortals.
His explanation did not make Princess Ning Shuang's face look any better. She pushed Xuanyi aside and stared at me coldly, her eyes filled with hostility.
So you are just a mere ginseng spirit. Do you think that because you saved Xuanyi and used his power to become an immortal, you can attract him? Do you want to be the war god's wife?
Me? Attract Xuanyi? What do you mean by attract? Like this. As I spoke, I reached out and poked her chest twice. Princess Ning Shuang's aggressive face instantly turned bright red. She raised her hand and slapped me across the face.
You shameless wretch. How dare you, guards? Arrest this impudent scoundrel who offended me.
A crisp slapping sound echoed through the courtyard. My cheek burned with pain. I had been an immortal for less than 15 minutes, and now I was being hunted down just because I squeezed the princess's chest. This must be quite a shocking event in the entire immortal realm. The heavenly soldiers rushed over at the sound, surrounding me with weapons in hand. Of course, I couldn't just sit and wait for death. I turned and ran. Princess Ning Shuang, I didn't do it on purpose. How was I supposed to know you wouldn't let me squeeze them? If it is such a big deal, I'll let you squeeze mine back. Mine are bigger than yours, so you won't lose out. As soon as these words came out, Princess Ning Shuang was absolutely furious. She roared,
Who wants to squeeze yours?
She stopped letting the heavenly soldiers chase me and personally brandished her sword to slash at me. She chased me from the God Lord's estate to the southern heavenly gate, and from the southern heavenly gate to the outer heavens. My 2 legs had just grown out, and I didn't really know how to use them yet, so I stumbled as I ran. But we ginseng spirits are best at burrowing into the earth. If I can't beat her, can't I at least hide? With a burrowing spell, I dived into the ground. But Princess Ning Shuang was relentless. She swung her sword wildly at the ground.
Little ginseng, get out here.
With no other choice under such pursuit, I simply reverted to my original form, shrank into the soil, and completely concealed my aura. Being human is too hard. I'd rather just be a ginseng. Princess Ning Shuang searched for a long time but couldn't find any trace of me. Furious, she stomped and shouted,
Little ginseng, get out here. You had the nerve to steal my man. So have the nerve to come out and fight me one-on-one.
We little ginsengs hate being falsely accused the most. I instantly popped my head out of the dirt and said angrily, Who are you saying stole your man? And who even is your man?
Everyone in the immortal realm knows that I, Princess Ning Shuang, love Xuanyi, the god of war. My imperial father was already preparing to decree our marriage. But you, some little creature from who knows where, saved him and got brought back to his palace, where he dotes on you in every way. Just what kind of love potion did you feed him to make him protect you like this?
She seemed to be speaking a language I couldn't understand at all. Just as I was about to ask her what she meant, Princess Ning Shuang, completely unreasonable, swung her sword right at me. As for me, I am at least an immortal now. How could I just let myself be bullied? I instantly shifted back into human form and raised my hand, catching her descending blade barehanded. The air fell silent once again. Princess Ning Shuang stared at my hand, holding her precious sword. Her face filled with disbelief. She yanked hard to pull the sword back, but my hand didn't budge an inch. Her face flushed red and then turned pale. I gently let go, and losing her balance, she stumbled back a few steps, nearly falling over. I didn't want to hold a grudge against her. After all, she is a princess. But she kept looking for trouble again and again, and she even slapped me. The anger in my heart flared up as well. Your Highness, I have just taken human form, and do not know the rules. It was my fault for grabbing your chest, but you also slapped me. Let's call it even.
How dare you mock me? Do you think you're so powerful just because you blocked my sword? You're only relying on Xuanyi to protect you.
Highs. This girl's ability to misinterpret things is truly off the charts. As we were speaking, a figure quickly rushed over. It was Xuanyi. Seeing the tense standoff between the two of us, his brow instantly furrowed. When Princess Ning Shuang saw Xuanyi, it was as if she had seen her savior. She suddenly reached out and shoved me. Caught off guard, I fell to the ground. She then threw herself in front of Xuanyi, weeping pitifully.
Xuanyi, this ginseng spirit, bullied me the moment she ascended. Not only did she grope me, she also tried to snatch my sword, and spoke insolently to me. As the god of war, and the protector of the heavenly realm, are you just going to stand by and watch her commit such atrocities?
No, seriously. Do you even hear what you're saying? I scrambled up from the ground and said angrily, just now, you were clearly chasing me down the street with a sword to kill me. Everyone saw it. You even slashed at me. I didn't hold it against you. Yet you're turning around and falsely accusing me.
I am the legitimate princess of the Heavenly Emperor. Why would I falsely accuse a wild spirit like you?
Her words thoroughly provoked me. I took a few steps toward her, grabbed her chin, and said coldly, you say I'm bullying you, right? You slapped me just now. Now I'm returning the favor. Only then will we truly be even. With that, I raised my hand and slapped her across the face. The crisp sound of the slap echoed through the clouds. Princess Ningxuang was stunned. Xuanyi was stunned. Even the Heavenly Emperor and Empress, who arrived shortly after, as well as the crowd of heavenly soldiers and fairy maids, were all stunned. Someone whispered in a low voice,
She actually slapped her.
Princess Ningxuang looked at the surrounding crowd, then touched her slapped cheek. Tears as large as beans instantly rolled down as she wailed in deep heartbreak.
Father, mother. You must seek justice for Xuanger.
Plants and trees that cultivate into immortals are naturally lacking in talent, and their cultivation and power are of the lowest tier in the immortal realm. Although I held an immortal status, I had no official post, serving merely as an idle, unofficial staff member. Now, having dared to slap the Heavenly Emperor's legitimate daughter, I had naturally caused a massive disaster. The Heavenly Emperor ordered me to be bound with fine iron chains and brought to the Golden Throne Room. The various immortals stood in rows on both sides. The Heavenly Emperor sat upon his dragon throne, his face dark with rage.
Audacious little ginseng, how dare you strike and insult our princess? Do you plead guilty?
Bound by the iron chains, my cheek still stung with a burning pain, yet I was not the least bit submissive. She struck me too. I turned my head to show everyone the handprint Princess Ningxuang had left on my face. She hit me so hard it hurt, and she chased me with a sword to slash me the whole way. I only gave her a slap in return. What crime have I committed? Princess Ningxuang stomped her feet in anger, pointing at me.
What is your status? My striking you is a lesson, because you do not know the rules. How dare you strike back? Father, drag her to the immortal slaying platform, strip her of her cultivation, revoke her immortal status, and banish her to the mortal realm. I never want to see her again.
I was dumbfounded. So, just because you have the Heavenly Emperor for a father, you think you can do whatever you want? Is having the Heavenly Emperor as a father really that big of a deal? Does your family own the heavenly realm? You send whoever you want to heaven, and banish whoever you want to the mortal realm. Treating me like this today is nothing but bullying me for being an orphan, with no one to back me up. If another immortal had offended you, would you dare to be this insolent? My words instantly set the immortals in the great hall whispering among themselves.
Looking closely at this matter, it is indeed the princess who is in the wrong. She is far too willful. This little ginseng actually has some character, daring to speak the truth. The princess indeed did wrong. She was the one who started the fight, and even chased her with a sword. It is truly beneath her dignity as a princess.
Hearing the crowd's discussion, the Heavenly Emperor's face grew even more grim. He glared at Princess Ningxuang.
Ningxuang, you and this little ginseng were merely having a common scuffle. A minor punishment would suffice. How can you constantly demand to send someone to the immortal slaying platform?
Do you all think she is just an innocent ginseng? As soon as she took human form, she tried to seduce Xuanyi. I saw her touching Xuanyi with my own eyes. It was absolutely scandalous.
Princess Ningxuang did not expect her own father to scold her, and began to cry even harder. Princess Ningxuang's words, as she pointed at me, instantly caused the immortals in the hall to look as if they were eager for gossip. They all cast knowing looks at Xuanyi.
Lord Xuanyi, is what Princess Ningxuang said true?
The Heavenly Emperor's gaze also fell upon Xuanyi. Clad in white battle armor, Xuanyi stepped out from the ranks of the immortals, his posture as upright as a slender bamboo. He bowed with clasped hands and said,
Your Majesty, what Princess Ningxuang said is not false.
As soon as these words were spoken, the immortals broke into an uproar. The Heavenly Emperor's face darkened instantly. Just as the Heavenly Emperor was about to lose his temper, Xuanyi added,
But the little ginseng has just taken human form and ascended after her tribulation. Her mind is like that of a child, and she is completely ignorant of the ways of the world. Her behavior was merely out of curiosity. Princess Ningxuang really has no need to make a fuss. In the past, when I was gravely injured and stranded in the mortal realm, it was thanks to her sacrificing 200 years of her cultivation to help heal my wounds that I was able to return to heaven safely. Such a great debt of gratitude I, Xuanyi, dare not forget. If your Majesty insists on punishment, then please punish me, Xuanyi. Instead, it has nothing to do with the little ginseng.
Xuanyi was the god of war of the heavenly realm, the #1 warrior of the heavenly court. The stability of the three realms relied entirely on him to fend off the demon clan. Since he had put it that that way. Who would dare to object? In the end, the Heavenly Emperor could only sentence me to 3 days in the celestial prison and let Xianxia take me back to discipline me properly. The matter was thus swept under the rug. The people of the Heavenly Realm truly knew how to imprison offenders. My 5 elements belonged to wood, so they used a metal element cage, which specifically counters wood, to lock me up. My magic could not be used at all inside the cage, and I couldn't even use the earth escape technique locked in the cage. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got, and I couldn't help but start scolding them. You immortals are so unreasonable. She hit me first, and I only fought back. Why lock me up and not her? The guarding celestial soldiers nearby were all expressionless, looking like blocks of ice. They let me scold them without showing the slightest reaction. Hey, are all you heavenly immortals mute? Like gourds with their mouths sawed shut, I continued to scold. You have mouths so you can speak. Isn't it a waste if you don't talk? If you won't talk to me, at least give me something to eat, okay? I'm hungry. Only after a long while did one of the heavenly soldiers speak up.
Miss Xianxia, just give it a rest. The one you hit was the Heavenly Emperor's daughter. Locking you up for only 3 days now is already a lenient punishment out of respect for the Lord. In the Heavenly Realm, the Heavenly Emperor is supreme. Since you have already become an immortal, you must submit to the rules.
The young soldier's words actually reminded me of something. If I became an immortal, I would be under the Heavenly Emperor's control. But what if I stopped being an immortal and returned to the mortal realm? Wouldn't that mean they could no longer control me? I really am a little genius. Just as I was planning to head down to the mortal realm once I got out, a familiar figure appeared outside the cell door. It is Xianxia. He was carrying a food basket in his hand. As he walked up to me, I looked at him.
Miss Xianxia,
Lord Xianxia, why are you here?
I was worried you'd go hungry here all by yourself, so I brought you some food.
He opened the food basket. Inside, it was surprisingly filled with colorful soil, along with a bottle of morning dew water. Ah, Xianxia, you really know how to deliver a meal. I forced down the urge to complain, picked up the morning dew water, and chugged it down. Thank you, Lord. Thanks to you pleading for me in the hall today. Otherwise, I might have really been pushed onto the immortal slaying platform. You saved me once, and I saved you once. Now you've pleaded for me again, so our debts are settled. From now on, we don't owe each other anything, right? Xianxia watched me drink the morning dew water, a faint smile appearing on his face.
As long as you like it. If you like it, I will go fetch some for you every day.
No need. Once I get out of here, I will go back to the mountains in the mortal realm to continue my cultivation. I'm not suited for this heavenly realm. The smile on Xianxia's face vanished instantly. His face darkened.
You have already become an immortal. How can you go back to keep company with those demons and monsters? I have decided to take you as my disciple. When you come out in 3 days, we will hold the apprenticeship ceremony. Think it over carefully during these few days.
Without waiting for my reply, he turned and walked away. I stomped my feet in anger inside the cell. Xianxia, come back. Who wants to be your disciple? And who are you calling a monster? If it weren't for this monster back then, you would have died in the mortal realm long ago. But the louder I shouted, the faster he walked, completely ignoring me. I kicked the cage in anger, but the exquisite cage didn't budge at all. I could only watch him walk away. Seeing my anger, the little heavenly soldier nearby offered words of comfort.
Miss Xianxia, being the Lord's disciple is much better than being a mountain spirit or monster in the lower realm. The Lord is the God of war of the heavenly realm, possessing extraordinary strength. By becoming his disciple, you will also be able to achieve outstanding strength in the future.
Then can I beat Xianxia? Can I beat the heavenly emperor? The little heavenly soldier's face instantly froze.
No.
Then it is no fun. For the next 3 days, those heavenly soldiers didn't dare to speak to me anymore, for fear of being led astray by me. However, Xianxia was true to his word. The very next day he had Hongguo bring me food. What she brought was no longer various types of dirt, but fresh and delicious food. There were fresh fruits, fresh pastries, and even spiritual congee. It tasted absolutely delicious.
Xianxia, the Lord is really good to you. Not only did he plead for you in the Golden Palace, but he also specially asked me to prepare so much delicious food for you. I heard the Lord is going to take you as his disciple. I've been by the Lord's side for so many years, and this is the first time I've seen him take a disciple. Back then, Princess Ningxuang begged him for a long time.
He still didn't agree. I shoveled down my food while remaining non-committal. Oh really? But I still want to go back to the mountains. Hongguo waved her little fists in frustration.
Oh, Xianxia, you're infuriating me. Such a great opportunity. Others could only dream of it. Yet, you're still reluctant.
It didn't really matter to me, but my reluctance didn't change anything. As soon as the 3 days were up, Xianxia set up several banquet tables right in the Lord's estate to hold an apprenticeship ceremony for me. All the prominent deities of heaven came. They all patted my head. and called me Little Xianxia. They also gifted me many celestial treasures I had never seen before. There were magical artifacts, elixirs, and spiritual jade. Although I didn't understand them, I knew they were all good things. Thank you, uncles, aunts, grandpas, grandmas, brothers and sisters. They laughed even more joyfully.
The Lord's disciple is so naturally gifted and looks so adorable. She is truly delightful.
Xuanyi stood beside me, smiling as he rubbed my head.
Praise her any more, and her tail will curl up to the heavens.
I am a ginseng. I only have roots, not a tail. The deities burst into laughter, all saying I was just a child. Back then, I didn't yet understand what it meant to be the disciple of Xuanyi, the god of war. It wasn't until later that I realized whenever the heavenly soldiers and celestial maids in the heavenly palace saw me, they would respectfully call me fairy. Even some deities of considerable status were warm and pleasant when they met me. Only then did I realize I had made a meteoric rise. Perhaps I was born with a talent for cultivation, or perhaps Xuanyi was an excellent teacher. During the days of cultivating with him, my progress was astonishingly fast. Spells, talismans, formations, elixirs, weaponsmithing. I topped the class in every single subject, leaving the other deities' disciples miles behind. Most deities in the heavenly court would take on disciples, but there were only so many celestial positions available. If you wanted to get a good position, you had to compete for it. Every once in a while, the heavenly court would hold a grand tournament of celestial arts. Every time I participated, I took first place. Everyone called me the top student of the heavenly realm, while others were still fighting tooth and nail. Just for the position of a celestial master, I was already able to follow Xuanyi into battle, serving as his deputy lieutenant to fight off the demon clan together. Because I was so outstanding, I completely overshadowed Princess Ningxuang. In the past, I had no status and no backing, so she could hit me whenever she wanted. Now, I was the war god's deputy, with military merits to my name, and my cultivation level was far above hers. If she wanted to cause trouble for me again, even her father, the heavenly emperor, wouldn't dare to take her side anymore. And I was highly resentful by nature. That slap she gave me back then, and the grudge of her chasing me all the way, I hadn't forgotten any of it. From then on, whenever I saw Princess Ningxuang, I couldn't help but mock her sarcastically. Oh, isn't this the heavenly emperor's eldest princess? What are you wandering around for? Must be nice to be so free, unlike us, who have to go to the battlefield to slay enemies at any moment, fend off the demon clan, and protect the peace of all living beings. We are very busy. When I ran into her at the jade pool, I looked at her new clothes and feigned surprise. Oh, your highness. This outfit must be made of the shark silk woven by the merfolk of the South Sea, right? I heard it is impervious to water and fire, and completely invulnerable to weapons. You don't even go to the battlefield. Isn't it a waste to wear something so good? Why don't you give it to me? It would actually be put to good use if I wore it to the battlefield. When I ran into her on the celestial streets, I glanced at the fairy maids around her, and said leisurely, "Oh, princess, you have so many fairy maids accompanying you. What a grand display." Unlike me, when I go to battle with Master, I only have a few heavenly soldiers by my side. I have to do everything myself, though that has helped me develop quite a few skills. I had a very sharp tongue, and every time, I would make Princess Ningxuang seethe with rage. Furious, she would always draw her sword and chase after me to strike me, but she was no match for me at all. I was Xuanyi's direct disciple. He had taught me everything he knew. Even 10 Princess Ningxuangs couldn't defeat me. Since she couldn't beat me, she would run crying to the heavenly emperor and empress to complain, saying I was disrespectful to her and bullied her. But every time she complained, I would always retort and leave her completely speechless. Princess, you only have a good life because you were born the daughter of the heavenly emperor. Aside from looking for trouble and throwing tantrums, have you made even a single contribution to the heavenly realm? Do you dare to challenge me to a duel? If you win, I will apologize to you. If you can't win, then stop crying here and embarrassing the heavenly emperor. My retorts made the heavenly emperor and empress turn pale with anger, yet they had nothing to say in response. After all, everything I said was the truth. Xuanyi, on the other hand, looked entirely embarrassed. Every time he could only come over and pull me back, saying,
Shen, say less.
Seeing Xuanyi pull me back, a glimmer of hope would always rise in Princess Ningxuang's eyes. She would gaze at him with eyes full of affection, thinking Xuanyi would take her side. But Xuanyi would only turn around, bow to the heavenly emperor and empress with cupped hands, and say,
Your Majesty, your Empress, my disciple is young and impetuous. She has a straightforward nature and likes to speak the truth. I hope you two can show some tolerance.
He spoke of it as if it were nothing. As soon as those words were spoken, Princess Ningxuang was so triggered that her eyes rolled back and she fainted on the spot. The main hall instantly fell into utter chaos because the conflict between Princess Ningxuang and me was so severe. Xuanye had no choice but to find an excuse, claiming that the seal on the passage between the immortal and demon realms was loosening, and took me with him to guard the seal, staying far away from the drama of the Celestial Palace. The seal between the celestial and demon realms was located at Mount Wangchuan, beyond the 9 heavens. This place was completely desolate, with nothing but endless mountain ranges and thick demonic energy. Xuanye and I sat on the peak of Mount Wangchuan, feeling the cold wind blow past us as we watched the dark, mist-shrouded seal in the distance. Without saying a word, Xuanye gazed at the seal, a hint of weariness in his eyes, lost in thought. Although I was reckless and blunt, I wasn't completely devoid of situational awareness. I leaned closer to him and asked in a whisper, "Master, does Xianxia cause trouble too often and make things difficult for you?" Hearing my voice, Xuanye snapped out of his thoughts. He turned to look at me, reached out, and gently ruffled my hair. His touch was incredibly tender.
No.
After a long silence, he suddenly asked me a question.
The Heavenly Emperor just said he wants me to marry Princess Ningxuang and have her become your master's wife. Would you be willing?
I instantly became agitated and shook my head without a second thought. Of course not. A hint of amusement flashed in Xuanye's eyes as he raised an eyebrow and asked,
"Why?"
"If she becomes my master's wife, I won't even be able to beat her up when she annoys me. How frustrating would that be? Besides, she has such a terrible temper and is so spoiled. She doesn't deserve you at all, master," I said righteously. Xuanye stared at me for a long time.
What on earth was I expecting?
He fell silent for a long moment, then let out a soft sigh.
Shen, you have been by my side for over 1,000 years. In your heart, who am I to you?
I froze for a moment, not understanding why he was suddenly asking this question. "Master, didn't you take me in as your disciple yourself? You are my master."
And besides being your master for all these years, you have always been by my side, together day and night. Do you really not have any other feelings?
There is a saying in the mortal realm, "A teacher for a day is a father for a lifetime." Xuanye had raised me for 1,000 years, taught me cultivation, and kept me safe. He was even better than my own father. Thinking of this, I hugged his arm and said with a beaming smile, "Why don't you become my father?" Ningxuang was incredibly arrogant, just because she had the Heavenly Emperor as her father. If Xuanye became my father, wouldn't I be able to walk tall and do whatever I wanted in the heavenly realm? My words instantly petrified Xuanye. He stood frozen on the spot, unable to utter a single word for a long time. Only after a good while did he turn red with embarrassment and anger. He reached out and poked my forehead, then suddenly stood up, turned around, and walked away. I quickly chased after him. "If you don't want to be my father, being my mother is fine too. Mother, 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 mother." Xuanye ran even faster. In a flash, he had fled thousands of miles away, leaving behind only a fading afterimage. It is just being a parent. What is there to run away from? Looking in the direction he disappeared, I had a puzzled look on my face, but I never would have expected that after returning to the Heavenly Palace, Xuanye would actually in front of the Heavenly Emperor, the Heavenly Empress, and all the immortals directly reject the marriage.
This marriage, I Xuanye cannot accept.
As soon as these words were spoken, the entire assembly was shocked. No one expected that Xuanye would actually refuse the Heavenly Emperor's arranged marriage and reject Princess Ningxuang. Princess Ningxuang burst into tears on the spot, weeping like a rain-drenched pear blossom, utterly heartbroken. The look she directed at me was full of resentment, as if her inability to marry was entirely my fault. I had an innocent look on my face.
Divine Lord Xuanye, stop right there. In what way am I inferior to her?
Oh, there is gossip. I instantly perked up, secretly following behind them and straining my ears to listen. Could Xuanye have refused the marriage because he already has a sweetheart? Xuanye stopped in his tracks, turned around, and after a long silence, slowly spoke.
Aside from her background being inferior to yours, spells, formations, talismans, elixirs, and weapon forging, she surpasses you in every single one.
But she doesn't love you. She is just a plant spirit in human form. She has no heart and no thread of love. No matter how good you are to her, she won't have you in her heart. She even cares about me more than she cares about you.
Immediately after, she wailed aloud, crying with tears and running nose, losing all her usual princess-like demeanor. Whoa, is this drama really that intense? Are immortals nowadays playing such wild games? Hiding behind a tree, I listened, dumbfounded, hearing Princess Ningxuang's words. Xuanye's face instantly turned very grim. He said in a deep voice,
Enough. These are all my own matters, and have nothing to do with anyone else. I like her, and I do not expect her to like me back. I only want to accompany her, protect her, and make her happy. Just staying by her side is enough. She is a plant spirit in human form. She has no thread of love, and does not understand romance. Then I will wait for her to grow one, even if I must wait 10,000 years, or even 100,000 years. I am willing.
His voice was gentle yet firm, every single word striking a chord in my heart. Princess Ningxuang stared at him blankly, her eyes filled with utter disbelief, as if she were truly seeing Xuanyi for the first time.
You really are. If I had known you were this kind of person, I would never have taken a liking to you in the first place.
I thought that after suffering such a great humiliation, Princess Ningxuang would surely cause a massive scene in the heavenly palace and make trouble for me. But to my surprise, the very next day, she petitioned the heavenly emperor to descend to the mortal realm for a trial, saying she wanted to clear her mind in the mortal world and stay away from the drama of the heavenly palace. Yet, the words Xuanyi spoke that night remained like a thorn, lodged deep in my heart, impossible to shake off, haunting my mind day and night. Just who is the person Xuanyi likes? To make him care so deeply, to the point of refusing a marriage proposal, and willingly waiting for tens of thousands of years. She must be incredibly outstanding, right? Wait a minute. Princess Ningxuang said that, except for her background, that person surpassed her in every single way, looking across the entire heavenly realm. In spells, formations, talismans, elixirs, and weapon forging. The one who is better than Princess Ningxuang in every aspect. Isn't that me? Does Xuanyi like me? I couldn't help but start recalling every little detail of my time spent with Xuanyi. He would block heavenly tribulations for me, plead on my behalf in the Golden Palace, collect morning dew for me, leave the best cultivation resources for me, teach me all of his skills, and protect me, never letting anyone bully me. Thinking of all this, my chest felt a strange tingling ache, as if tiny insects were crawling inside. My mind was completely filled with Xuanyi's figure. I was utterly shocked and alarmed, holding my head in my hands. How could this be? Am I about to develop a love brain? I desperately wanted to know if the person Xuanyi liked was indeed me. But I couldn't just go and ask him directly. That would be too embarrassing. After thinking it over and over, I could only go and ask Princess Ningxuang. She was about to descend to the mortal realm to undergo her trials, and was currently at the reincarnation terrace. When I found her, she was standing on the reincarnation terrace, gazing in the direction of the mortal realm, her expression cold and icy. Seeing me, she let out a cold sneer.
You're here.
I nodded, getting straight to the point. I want to know, who exactly is the person Xuanyi likes?
You want to know? Come a little closer, and I'll tell you.
I knew she was up to no good, but I wanted to know the answer far too much. You can tell me now, right? I frowned. What did you say? I didn't hear you. The next second, she suddenly reached out, tightly grabbing my wrist, and yanked hard, dragging me down toward the reincarnation terrace. Caught completely off guard, I was dragged down the reincarnation terrace along with her. She gripped me tightly, laughing maniacally.
Ha ha ha. Didn't you want to know? Accompany me to the mortal realm for my trials, and I will tell you.
Oh crap, you sly fox Ningxuang, you set me up. I cursed in anger. Dragged by Princess Ningxuang, I fell down the reincarnation terrace, reincarnating into the mortal world to become immortal. Having drunk the soup of forgetfulness, I forgot all about my past life, only following the book of fate written by Siming to live out my life.
I don't know if Siming has a grudge against me, but the fate book he wrote for me was absurd to the extreme.
Princess Ningxuang was reincarnated as the legitimate princess of the Great Qi dynasty, receiving thousands of favors and love, a noble lady of royal blood. Meanwhile, I was reincarnated as a poor scholar, picked up by Princess Ningxuang on the roadside, and brought back to the imperial palace. She fell in love with me at first sight, disregarding the opposition of her imperial father and mother, insisting on marrying me as her husband. For my sake, she gave up her dignity as a princess, accompanied me through hard study by the cold window, washed her hands to make soup for me, and gave up everything for me. Yet, I was an absolute scumbag. I used her affection, used her status as a princess, and climbed up step by step. From a poor scholar, I became an influential minister in court, finally holding heavy military power, raising troops in rebellion, destroying the Great Qi dynasty, killing her imperial father and mother, and killing all of her relatives. I threatened her with her closest and dearest, poisoned her with muscle-weakening powder, controlled her body, and trapped her deep within the palace. In the end, I even watched with my own eyes as she, my child, died in her arms. Yet I remained completely indifferent. Until her death, she kept looking at me, her eyes full of despair and hatred as she asked me,
What on earth did I do wrong? Why must you treat me this way?
But I only looked at her coldly and said,
From beginning to end, all I ever used was your status and your affection.
The tribulation ended, and I returned to the heavenly realm together with Princess Ningxuang, recovering all of our memories. Princess Ningxuang broke down and wept bitterly, showing me great care and concern, screaming in heart-wrenching pain.
Xianxia, you bastard.